We're here at Norbu House in the Great Room, and Rinpoche is going to be reading us stories.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be back as your storyteller. Would you join me tonight? We're going to read Tibetan Tales for Little Buddhas. These are classic Tibetan, they're folk tales, but they're also spiritual tales. So I'd like to read this for you tonight. We'll see, maybe we'll read 2 or possibly 3 of them. So please settle back. And beautiful illustrations. This is written by Naomi Rose, but these are classic tales. And I'm not sure who did the drawings. Maybe she did the drawings also. So thank you, Naomi, for writing a wonderful book. And let's open it and see what we've got. There was a picture here of Tibet. And here's a foreword by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And he had nice things. He said, everyone wants to be happy and to overcome whatever problems they meet in their lives. So this is a very nice thing to say. There's a little section here about Tibet, but I'm not going to be reading on that. But the first story that we're going to read is called Geshe's Luck. Geshe's Luck. So there's a nice painting. Geshe, this must be Geshe with his horse. And we begin. And this is the Tibetan writing down below, but I'm going to read it in English for you. I think that's going to work out better. Nestled among the tallest mountains of the world is the land of Tibet. In the foothills of those mountains lies a village, and in that village lived Geshe with his father and their horse. One morning, Geshe dashed into the stone cottage. Pa, our horse is gone. Geshe's father pulled on his dusty boots, tightened his sash, and stepped into the cool air. Squinting at the snowy peaks, he breathed deeply. Geshe scowled. Come on, Pa, we must find our horse. It looks like he has a dog on his lap, and who else has a dog on their lap? Huh? This is Sunny. This is just like the father. There's the mountains behind. And this is probably dried meat hanging behind there. This is his bag. It's called a jola in Tibetan. Geshe and his father trampled through the tall grasses, peering behind boulders and over thick brush. Om mane padme hum, chanted Geshe's father. How can you chant now? Asked Geshe. That won't help us find our horse. Chanting helps me have a peaceful mind, replied his father. Geshe kicked into the dirt. Several villagers happened by. What are you looking for? Our horse, cried Geshe. We'll help. The villagers searched all day with Geshe and his father. This is a yak down here. And some of the beautiful wildflowers. I remember the wildflowers when I lived in Tibet a long, long time ago. And I'm not seeing the horse. At nightfall, Geshe wept. What bad luck, we've lost our only horse. What terrible fortune, chimed the villagers. Who can say what's good fortune or bad? Asked Yeshe's father. Give thanks for everything. Yeshe and the villagers exchanged puzzled looks. Om Mani Padme Hum, chanted Yeshe's father. This is traditional costumes of Tibetan people. And here's Yeshe's father. He's saying Om Mani Padme Hum, which is a mantra of Chenrezig, the Buddha of compassion. Actually, he looks a lot like His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So maybe this is from story, the illustrations from Amdo, where His Holiness was born, because he looks a lot like that. After several days, some villagers arrived at Yeshe's house. Your horse is in the meadow. He brought a surprise. Come quick. Yeshe raced out the door. His father and the villagers hurried behind. When Yeshe reached the meadow, he blinked hard. A new horse was grazing alongside Yeshe's. This is good fortune, said Yeshe. Now we have 2 horses. Your horse running away was good luck after all, chimed the villagers. Yeshe's father smiled. I'm grateful, but who can say if this is good fortune or bad? Yeshe and the villagers exchanged puzzled looks. Om Mani Padme Hum, chanted Yeshe's father. So this looks like the new horse, the white horse. And that is Yeshe's horse. This is a traditional blanket for the horse's back, like a Tibetan carpet, but made for a horse. Yeshe and his father swiftly trained their new horse. One day, as Yeshe galloped through the meadow, the new horse bucked him off and high into the air. There he is. Ow! Actually, in Tibetan, we go, ooh, 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 ooh. Very strange sound. Ooh, 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 ooh. Screamed Yeshe. He crumpled to the ground. Help, my leg. Uh-oh, here he is. The horse maybe looks a little bit sad, I don't know. He's definitely in trouble there. Some villagers rushed to Yeshe. A man lifted Yeshe into his arms and headed up the hill. The others followed. Yeshe's father met them at the door. Pa, moaned Yeshe, our new horse was bad luck after all. Such terrible fortune, chimed the villagers. Yeshe's father placed the boy onto the straw bed. I'm sorry to see my son hurt, but who can say what is good fortune or bad? Yeshe and the villagers exchanged puzzled looks. Om Mani Padme Hum, chanted Yeshe's father. In Tibet, whenever there was a problem or anything interesting, everybody had to come to see. There's no sense of privacy at all. Yeshe grimaced while his father wrapped his leg in clean rags. Finely bandaged, his leg throbbed in pain. Yeshe gazed at his father in the glow of the butter lamp, and he listened to his soft chanting. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. I've heard Pa chant a lot, thought Yeshe, but it never sounded so beautiful. Warmth filled his heart. Tears slipped down his cheeks. That's odd, he thought. My leg has stopped hurting. Maybe there is something to the chant. Could it be my Pa is wise after all? He listened to his father chant as the moon rose high in the sky. There he is in bed. This is called a prayer wheel, what he's holding in his hands. And he spins it around and the prayers go out. Om Mani Padme Hum is written many times inside. Geshe awoke to a villager knocking at the door. Have you heard? Military officers are here. They're taking our boys away to fight in a battle. But you don't have to go because your hurt leg. My, Geshe said, falling off the horse was good luck after all. He glanced at his father. But I guess no one really knows what's good fortune or bad. Geshe thought as he saw his father smile. More villagers came. Such good fortune for Geshe, but such bad fortune for our boys. I'm scared for my friends too, replied Geshe, but who can say what's good fortune or bad? The villagers exchanged puzzled looks. Om Mani Padme Hum, chanted Geshe with his father. Here's a soldier, and here's the boys from the village. They're making them go away to fight in a battle. It took many weeks for Geshe's leg to mend. Soon after, a villager ran up to Geshe. Our boys are back. They're safe. They even brought new friends to join the village. Geshe grinned. At the homecoming celebration, Geshe sang, life is like a potter's clay, changing shape from day to day, as stars sparkle in the sky. Light and dark go quickly by. What's the future? No one knows. Be at peace with how life goes. The villagers exchanged smiles. Om Mani Padme Hum, chanted Geshe's father. Om Mani Padme Hum, chanted the villagers. Om Mani Padme Hum, chanted Geshe. Om Mani Padme Hum. Do you see the rainbow in the sky? There's Geshe with his father. And what's this in her hand? These are prayer beads. And where are the horses? There they are. So that's our first story. This next one is a little bit scary, so hang on to your hats. This is called Jomo and the Dakini Queen. What an interesting picture. I wonder what this is going to be about. The house is very similar than the last one. Here's the meat hanging on the wall. This is dried meat. That's how in Tibet, that's mostly what people ate. And here she's doing something. Not sure, washing clothes maybe. This looks like incense in a bowl. Let's see what this is. This floor is filthy, yelled Aunt Petta. Sweep it again. Jomo pushed the broom across the stone floor. Tears glistened from her half-moon eyes. Aunt Petta inspected a cooking pot. Why is this still dirty? Jomo cringed. I was busy milking the yaks. That's no excuse. Jomo put the broom aside. She rolled her sleeves over her elbows and scrubbed the blackened pot. Her hands shook. Water splashed onto the floor. Aunt Petta threw her hands in the air. You make more messes than you clean, girl. Jomo mopped up the water, cleaned the pot, and scurried to the pasture. Here's the kind of broom that they use in Tibet. Maybe your grandmother or great-great-grandmother used a broom like this. Oh my, what a pretty picture. This must be Jomo. Sitting among the yaks, Jomo tugged at her braids. "What am I to do?" she asked. "Aunt Petta scares me. She's always yelling ever since Mama and Pa died." Jomo sniffled. A yak nuzzled her rosy round face. "You silly thing," she said, petting his shaggy hair. What a sweet yak. This is a decoration. It looks like her decoration, doesn't it? That's the end of her braid that goes around her head and then hangs there. Yeah. In Kham they wear this red tassel. Jomo took the yaks above the barley fields. She breathed easily into the thin air. Arriving at her favorite meadow, she came upon a cave she'd never seen before. Huge boulders blocked the entrance. The yaks meandered off to munch on fresh grass. Jomo yawned in the warm, honey-scented breeze and curled up on the soft ground. Ting, ting, ting. Jomo opened her eyes. What's that? Reminds me of Mama's prayer bells. They're coming from the cave. Oh my, the boulders are gone. The food in Tibet, she's in the barley field. The food in Tibet, very popular, is called sampa, which is roasted barley that's ground up. And here at Lotus Lake, we also make sampa. It's easier for us to make sampa, but I still roast it in sand and then grind it. I love sampa. She stood up and tiptoed to the cave. Ting, ting, ting. Should I go in? Jomo shook her head. I better not. Ting, ting, ting. Those bells sound so lovely. I'll just take a peek. Biting her lip, she edged into the cave. It's spooky, she whispered. Shadows loomed everywhere. Dripping sounds echoed from deep inside. What happened to the bells? Jomo shivered. I don't like this place. Turning to leave, she tripped onto the cave floor. When she lifted her head, she froze. There she is going in. She's holding her hands like she's a little bit afraid. Oh my. Before her stood a ruby red sow with diamond eyes. Jomo shrieked and darted behind a boulder. Her body trembled. Hearing a voice, she cupped her ears. Lift the veil, my dear. I'm not what you fear. Jomo peeked over the boulder. The repulsive beast was creeping toward her. She ducked down. Don't hide or fight me. I'm not what you see. Are you talking to me? Whimpered Jomo from behind the boulder. Cast your fear aside. Open your heart wide. There was no doubt the sow was speaking to her. What do you want? Cried Jomo. Just look into my eyes to see past the lies. She peeked over the boulder again. The beast was very close. I better do it, thought Jomo, or else the beast might hurt me. She lifted her eyes, shuddered, and turned away. See me as a friend, then your fear will end. I'll try, but please don't come any closer. The sow stopped. Jomo steadied her shoulders, softened her gaze, and looked again. First she saw the scary beast. Then she saw sparkling eyes. And then she saw a beautiful face. At that moment, the beast melted into a puddle of glittering liquid. Jomo gasped. A lovely woman arose from the puddle. Rainbow light shone from her body. Jomo's knees wobbled. Who are you? The Dakini Queen, at last you have seen. Jewels adorned the smiling woman. Jomo blinked at the radiant colors. I've heard about Dakinis, that they enchant with mystical powers. The mystical art of a loving heart. Jomo looked around. What happened to the beast? Isn't she beautiful? She even has a crown. She must be a queen. The Dakini raised her eyebrows. How I look to you depends upon your view. You mean you're the beast too? Jomo asked. The Dakini drew nearer. Her wild hair shimmered. I am what you need to nourish the seed. Jomo frowned. What seed? The Dakini slid her hand into the boulder, pulled out a scroll, and placed it into Jomo's hands. Here it is over here. Here's the scroll. It's writing that's rolled up as a scroll. To overcome fear with your love, my dear. The shining queen faded into the shadows. Wait, I don't understand, cried Jomo. But the Dakini was gone. Jomo shivered. In a daze, she gripped the scroll and left the cave. The Dakini is like a deity, an enlightened being. It was nearly nightfall by the time Jomo gathered the yaks and arrived home. She tucked the scroll in her pocket and stepped through the doorway. You're late, Aunt Petak yelled. Get cooking. Here she is in the long stone wall. And the yaks. And there's Jomo bringing them back in. Jomo cringed as she moved toward the stove. Lift the veil, my dear. She's not what you fear. Jomo halted. The Dakini's voice echoed inside her head. Look into her eyes to see past the lies. She looked at Aunt Petta's glaring face, shuddered and turned away. See her as a friend, then your fear will end. Jomo steadied her shoulders, softened her gaze, and looked again. First she saw her angry aunt. Then she saw deep brown eyes. And then she saw a beautiful face. At that moment, Jomo's body shone with rainbow light. Her aunt's mouth dropped open. Jomo smiled as colorful light streamed around her. At last you are free to love and let be. Jomo kissed her aunt on the cheek. Her fear was gone. She looks like the Dakini now, This must have been a blessing that she got when she was in the cave. She seems very happy. Every day, Jomo did her chores and tended to the yaks. Every night, she studied the Dakini lessons from the scroll. One day, Aunt Petta picked up the broom and began to sweep. Jomo, she called softly. Jomo stopped scrubbing, lifted her head, and turned toward her aunt. "Will you teach me the Dakini way?" asked Aunt Petta. Jomo nodded with a smile. Here's Jomo, milking the yak. Actually, the yak is the boy. This is actually a tso. That's the female is a tso. But now everyone calls them yaks, so anyway. Now her aunt wants to know, and Jomo seems like she's turning into a Dakini, but we don't know what comes next. I'm enjoying these stories. Tomorrow night we have 2 more stories to finish, and let's see how Sunny did. Did she like the stories? What do you think, Sunny? What do you think, sweetie? Did you like them? Sunny liked it. Good night. See you tomorrow. Many blessings. Practice well. Don't be afraid. Everything's going to turn out all right.
Thank you, Rinpoche.